Want to get started?
We're live. We're live for now.
Okay. Shabbat Shalom, friends and family. My name is Janet Abrams-Piota, an Astoria Center of Israel board member and chair of the Journal Committee for 2023. Welcome to our annual journal service tonight, during which we will celebrate Elisa Militov, our beloved honoree, for her outstanding work to support Astoria Center of Israel in various capacities throughout the years. Tonight, we will first have Kabbalah Shabbat, led by our wonderful Rabbi Josh. Rabbi Josh Reed, Rabbi, to be followed by heartfelt tributes to Lisa and ending with Mari services before we break for what should be a very delicious dessert reception, sponsored by Lisa's parents, Ralph and Marshall Jacobs. Thank you to the Jacobs for your donation and for raising Elisa, who is extraordinary and a pillar of our community. Mazel tov, Elisa. You are an incredible friend, mother, teacher, and advocate, and I'm always in awe of your persistence, your intelligence, sense of humor, measured manner, loyalty, and devotion, and proud to call you my friend and co-conspirator. Shabbat Shalom, everyone, and enjoy the evening.
Thank you, Janet. So if this handout looks familiar to some of you, it's because the last time we had Friday night services, back in March. Well, yeah, no, I think the volume's kept intentionally down for me, for good reason. The first time we did this back in March for Shabbat Across America, the name of the service I called was Shabbat Sovev, which comes from the Hebrew word for a round, like sivivon, like a top, like for a dreidel. Of course, we're not doing it in a round, we're doing it in our pews, but I figured I would keep the title the same, since we'll probably do it again. As for the last time visitor people came in, there should still be copies in the back, and they're exactly the same, but for the fact that one has Hebrew, and the other has what's known as transliterated English, which is the same Hebrew words written in English letters. So, and you can use either one, depending on which one you prefer. And we're going to begin. All of these songs that we're doing with a few additions are ones that we learned together back in March. And we've sung them since together. So hopefully it'll be a meaningful night for all of us. So the top is the poem by Chaim Nachman Bialik, known as Boi Kala, or the Sabbath Queen. Boi Amalka, Boi Kala, Shalom Aleichem, Malkei HaShalom, Boi Amalka, Boi Kala, Shalom Aleichem, Malkei HaShalom. You can try it, it's really actually quite easy. Boi Amalka, Boi Kala, Shalom Aleichem, Malkei HaShalom. Boi Amalka, Boi Kala, Shalom Aleichem, Malkei HaShalom. We continue with Psalm 96 with Shir Ladonai. We'll start off with the Nigun, and we'll join together for portions of it in the Hebrew that are on your sheets. Shiru Adonai, Shir Chadash Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, Shiru l'Adonai baruch Shemo basru miyom le'yom Yeshuato sapru v'goyim kevodo v'kol ha'amim niflotav ki gadol Adonai u'mulav me'od no rahu akol Elohim We're at the bottom of the first page for Lechadodi. For those who have not heard this before, either on Shabbat morning or when we were last here on Friday night together, you might be wondering, I didn't realize you could sing Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah to Lechadodi, but you can. You can actually sing it to a bunch of things, which we do. For those who are using the transliterated text, just note that the right side are the first verses, and the left side are the second verses, so that it's still like a Hebrew, from right to left. Bottom of the first page. Lechadodi likrakala ene Shabbat nekabela Shamor v'zachor v'dibor echad Hishmi'anu el ha'miyuchad Adonai echad u'shmo echad L'shemo tiferet v'litila Lechadodi likrakala Ene Shabbat nekabela Likra Shabbat lechu v'nechad Ki mikor haberaka Merosh mikenem nisucha Sof maseh b'machshava tefila Lechadodi likrat kala Ene Shabbat nekabela. And in the middle, we switch to another melody. Ya-na-na-na-na-na, ya-na-na-na-na-na-na, ya-na-na-na-na-na-na, Shabbat nekabela olechadodi likra kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. We rise and face the entrance to welcome the Sabbath bride. Boi v'shalom, ateret bala, gam b'simcha u'v'tzola, tov emunei, am segula, boi chala, olechadodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela, olechadodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. You may be seated unless you are someone who is in mourning or observing yard sites. We will remain standing for the Kaddish Yatom of Mourners Kaddish. Yit Gadal v'Yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah v'Yalmad Yivarach Yeruteh v'Yamlich Malchuteh v'Chayechon u'Vyomechon u'Chayei Dechol Beit Yisrael ba'Agala u'Bizman Karim v'Imru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Barach le'olam u'lamei amaya Yibarach v'Yishtabach v'Yipa'ar v'Yitromam v'Yitnaseh v'Yitadar v'Yitaleh v'Yitalal Shmei Dekutsha Brichu La'ela min kol birkata v'shirata tushbekata v'nechamata v'amiram b'yalma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shmaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imroma hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. You can now put your handouts down for a few moments as we're gonna, I guess we're calling this the journal part of the service. Before our speakers come up to speak about our honoree, I just wanted to say something very quickly myself, although some of my words are already in the journal. There's a rule, there's no rabbi rule book, but there kind of is like a rabbi rule book, and one of the rules in the rabbi rule book is you're never supposed to pretend when you speak about somebody that you know more about than they actually do. This is also true for funerals. Like if you're speaking at a funeral for someone you never met, don't act like you actually know them because people will figure it out. So it's appropriate, I think, that some of our other lay leaders and board members and past chairs speak in honor of Elisa, but I know synagogue politics and synagogue boards because I was raised in them. And there are certain things that they share in common in any synagogue, sometimes for good and sometimes for not so good. I think I told all of you when I was interviewing for this job that my father was the person who used to be summoned in the middle of the night if the synagogue's alarm system wasn't working. Because yeah, oh, see, we have some knowing smiles there, right? So these are the things that people who volunteer their time do, large and small, for synagogues. And one of the things that I think is a tad unfortunate is that it almost can become so much of a job that the idea that being in a leadership role in a synagogue should be a significant positive part of a person's Jewish journey can seem absurd on its face. The very fact that you all are laughing means you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? And that's a real shame. This is something where I think our Christian brothers and sisters really have it right. In the Christian Bible, there's an idea of what's called the gift of leadership. That some people who become priests have the gift of teaching, and then there are some people who have the gift of leadership. And the gift of leadership is their way of talking about what it means to give of your time. And having only been here for 6 months, one thing that was made very clear to me is that our honoree for this evening served a lot of time, a lot of time for this congregation. And for that, all of us, including me, are incredibly grateful. And for all the specifics, it's my pleasure to introduce our various speakers for the evening. I believe Eric is going first. It's my pleasure to call Eric Black, the chair of our board.
Shabbat Shalom. As Rabbi Josh just said, I'm Eric Black, the board chair of the Story Center of Israel. Thank you for waiting to me, so I just have to wait back for a second. I'd like to thank Rabbi Josh for leading us in this beautiful service tonight. I'd also like to thank Janet Piota for chairing our journal committee and for all of her hard work that went into the logistics of this year's journal and tonight's service. And thanks to Ari, who's running tonight's live stream over here. So that at least fans from all over the world who are unable to attend in person can join us virtually. And special thanks to Elisa's parents, Ralph and Marcia Jacobs, who have sponsored tonight's dessert reception. And of course, I'd like to thank our honoree, Elisa Blumenthal. There are so many things to thank Elisa for, and so many reasons to be thankful for Elisa. You'll hear some of the specifics from Ari in a little bit, enumerating all the hard work Elisa has dedicated to ACI over the years. But I'd like to touch on just a couple of years when Elisa was first co-chair of the board with Janet, and then chair by herself. Elisa is fond of blaming me for those couple of years.
That comes up in my speech as well.
But in my defense, I will say that I merely cajoled Elisa into joining the Board of Governors of ACI. Elisa stepped up to take on the board chair role by herself. That's what Elisa does. She steps up. When there's a need to get work done, Elisa steps up. She's been doing this for ACI for years. Those 2 years that Elisa stepped up to chair our board were crucial years in a change of direction for ACI. It took tact and diplomacy, but also determination and a strong will. Elisa managed logistics and she managed people. Leveraging her background as an elementary school teacher, Elisa knew when to use a gentle hand and when to speak slowly and clearly with thoughtful words to show she meant business. None of this was easy, but it was necessary for ACI to move onward and forward and mark a new path for our members, as well as for the entire Jewish community of the Story. So thank you, Elisa, for your leadership and your friendship. ACI is lucky to have you. Of course, Elisa was not alone through this time. She was working hand in hand with our amazing president at the time, Judy Markowitz. And now I'd like to bring Judy up to say a few words, or as many as she'd like.
For those who don't know me, my name is Judy Markowitz. I was co-president when Elisa was board chair. Those were difficult years, to say the least. It wasn't because Elisa and I didn't get along. We were always on the same page. Our goals were what was best for ACI. There was another force always percolating to foil us. We prevailed. Elisa's a go-getter who knows what she wants. She sets her goals, goes for it, and achieves them. I want to also mention that Elisa brought a level of civility to ACI at our board meetings. She initiated a rules of conduct where members agreed to treat each other with respect, keep within time limits, and stay on topic. She also brought along a recognition and process to get better participation amongst the congregation in various activities. And it must be stated that she bent over backwards to foster a civil working relationship with other leaders at ACI. These all reflect on her dedication and level-headedness, which was so needed at the time. She and I forged a friendship because we have the same goals for ACI and life in general. Mazel tov to you for this wonderful achievement, which is well deserved.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It's always a challenge to speak last because all the good material has been taken. But, I will do my best. And I guess I might as well tell a joke. So a man walks into a bar and he says, "Bartender, pint please." So the bartender brings him a pint and he takes a sip. And then he hears this voice saying, "You are so good looking and you are dressed so well." The man looks around him and he realizes that it's just him and the bartender. There's no one else in the bar. So he takes another sip, and then again he hears this voice that says, "You have such a nice personality. People must really like you." And now he's getting a little concerned. So he says, "Bartender." And the bartender comes over. He says, "Okay." He says, "Yes, everything's fine. How's the beer?" "Beer's fine. What are these voices I'm hearing?" He says, "Voices? Oh, they're the peanuts. They're complimentary." So, we often issue compliments purportedly, and we don't give it much thought. We're sometimes very spontaneous in our compliments. We don't have to give that much forethought. Praise, on the other hand, praise requires a lot more focus and concentration on the person whom you are praising. And as Samuel Johnson, the 18th century British essayist, moralist, critic, said that praise, like gold and diamonds, owes its value to its scarcity. So what did he mean by that? It's scarcity. Does he mean that we don't issue praise enough? We're not forthcoming enough with our praise? Or maybe he means that praise should be scarce. It should be someone who's distinguished themselves, who's set themselves apart, and who has a list of accomplishments and achievements to justify that praise. So here at ACI, we're very fortunate to have a moment like this every year where we think back on someone who's distinguished themselves, who's set themselves apart, who's shown that they've gone beyond what was ever required of someone. And usually we think about this a few months before, usually February or March. But we knew already years ago who we planned on honoring and who has distinguished themselves for everything that they've done at ACI and who is very deserving of the praise. So tonight I can extol all of Lisa's virtues. I can speak about how organized and methodical and diplomatic she is, how fair and committed and patient she has been. I can enumerate the many different events and projects that Lisa has worked on and oversaw, such as the Purim and Hanukkah parties, which she organized and coordinated and essentially ran. And I can tell you about the wonderful smiles on children's faces as they ran around the social hall and marched in the parade, and my children were some of those kids. I can talk about her tenure on the board, where she set the right tone by establishing norms and ground rules so that people spoke with respect and dignity to the other people on the board, where conversations were respectful and that our objectives were clear and achievable. And she ensured that our meetings were constructive and productive. And very often she would say, "So we need a volunteer to take on this position. We're not going to continue with this meeting until someone volunteers to take on this position." And she was very patient. And eventually someone relented and volunteered. And this is how she got things done. And I can see how her years as a school teacher really paid off in dealing with adults. I can speak how she helped craft our contract with our education director to make sure that it was fair and comprehensive and that it aligned with the expectations of ACI's Hebrew School program. I can speak to how Elisa coordinated and ran previous journal events to make sure that they ran smoothly and that the critical funds that were needed to support ACI and all its projects and its mission were accomplished. Or I can speak to how Elisa volunteered and wrote the commentary appeal, again, expressing how invaluable the donations were to making sure that ACI can achieve its financial goals and responsibilities. I can continue, but I'm hearing the music, so I probably need to wrap it up. In the aggregate, what it speaks to is Elisa's spirit of volunteerism and her selflessness and her unwavering commitment to our community and her countless hours of service. She's been a remarkable asset, as Eric eloquently said, and an inspiration to many people at ACI. And this is all while holding a full-time job and being a parent and being a spouse. Every one of us, who, especially those of us who are parents, knows that every minute, every hour, every day that we spend doing for others is one less minute, one less hour, one less day we get to spend with our families, with our children, with ourselves. And this speaks to her unwavering commitment and devotion to the center. So Lisa, we are in your debt, and we are so thankful for everything that you've done for the center. I also want to thank Rafi Blumenthal for being so patient with the commitments that Lisa has made on behalf of your entire family. I also want to thank you for jumping in and being God when ACI really needed it, and for leading Torah when we needed someone to step up and lead, and for being so, for being the chair of our outreach and membership committee. We thank you very much for that. I also want to thank two people who many of you may not know, and that is Marcia and Ralph Jacobs, Elisa's parents, who have been so supportive of her during the many years that she has served our community. You have helped her in so many ways, especially when it comes to the finances of ACI, and you yourselves have been so generous as well to ACI. And I also want to thank Jacob and Max. That's right, because you boys have been so patient with your parents, and you've been so tolerant, and it speaks to a certain level of maturity that you have. And we've watched you since you were young boys in the Talk Shabbat program, and now you're becoming young men, and we appreciate the fact that you let your parents do what they do for ACI. So, Josh, I want to thank you again for the Kabbalah Shabbat service. I want to congratulate you on being able to celebrate your first journal service at ACI. And I want to thank you, Janet, for spearheading the journal program. You did an amazing job. Thank you so much. I know it was a lot of effort and a lot of coordination, and I don't know how you folks did it, but you managed to do it. So, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Are we going to have a 100%? Okay, I'd like to call on Janet to offer a token of our appreciation to our honoree.
So tonight, on behalf of the ACI Board of Trustees and Governors, I have the honor of presenting Elisa with two important gifts. One which is in a Wonder Woman bag, which she always has. This is Wonder Woman on Tony. So
on Tuesdays.
So I have two important gifts. Okay. And a whole bunch of yummies in there. For incredible support of our synagogue and community. One gift is a pair of Shabbat candles. 6. And the other is a family membership to the Jewish Museum. So these gifts reflect our appreciation for Lisa and support of her and Rafi's dedication to Judaism and to
Hello, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. It is so great to see so many people here. Thank you so much. I love the little crowd in the back. Hey. Thank you to everyone who came out tonight. It is so incredibly kind of you. As Eric said, things started off very innocently. We just came to talk Shabbat with Kara Bernstein and Lisa Goldberg, and Eric said, oh, why don't you join the board? Okay. And things just really escalated from there, and my involvement just seemed to grow and grow. Rabbi, I think it was adjusted down for me also. I have that same voice. So my experiences in time at ACI have been so meaningful. I was really looking for a place where Rafi and I could bring Jacob and Max, where they would be able to find Jewish friends to play with, other Jewish families in Astoria that we could form a community with. And over the years, we've really found that. Through thick and thin, through good times, through bad times, gotten advice about everything you can imagine. I've learned to sew things, I've led meetings, I've popped popcorn here, many, many things. And I'm just so appreciative that the Astoria Center of Israel existed and that I could have a hand in helping it continue to exist and perhaps even flourish in the years that are ahead. I do have a lot of people to thank. I'm pretending that this is like my Oscar speech, so I do have a lot of thank yous. Eric, thank you. I think I'm pretty sure it's a thank you. I do appreciate the nudge that you gave me to get more involved. It did spiral at times, but I'm glad that I could use some of my teacher skills with grown-ups here to support the center in its efforts. I want to take a minute to give a shout out and a big thank you to Ari and Litza. Can we give a hand? Ari and Litza have worked tirelessly, ceaselessly, 24/7 the last year to keep our doors open, to maintain our programming, and do everything from run a live stream to keep the sanctuary cool to everything you can imagine from the small to the large. And so I just want to say, as much as I appreciate this honor, I want to make it clear what a team effort there is. There is no single volunteer or no two volunteers alone who can help keep a synagogue like this afloat. It takes a team of people who are committed and have a similar focus and goal. And I am so grateful that there were people here to support me and collaborate on this endeavor. So thank you, Litza, and thank you, Ari, for all your work, not just in the past year, but especially for the past year. I have a feeling that Susan Cohn is watching from home. Hi, Susan. For many years, Susan Cohn and Sidel Diner, may memory be for a blessing, were the journal editors. And they did an absolutely magnificent job. And I just wanted to thank Susan personally again for really taking the time to show me what is, I had never heard of a journal service before. I was trying to explain it to Rabbi Josh. And I really appreciated the way she showed me step by step, what it is, why do we do this? And I appreciated her guidance so much. So thank you so much, Susan. It really took an army of volunteers to attempt to replicate the work that you and Seville did. And thank you to Judy Markowitz. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Our collaboration, we became confidants. I considered you my mentor, and I ended up with a new friend. We had some marathon phone calls. I probably did about 10,000 steps during many of our calls over that long, long, hot summer a few years ago. And I just appreciated how you helped me understand the tremendous amount of delicate handling, diplomacy, and humor that's needed to help steer an organization like this. I also want to thank Steve Markowitz, our former board chair, acting board chair, I know that means a lot to you, who was so generous in taking the time to help transfer so much of his institutional knowledge to the next generation of people who are trying to steward ACI. Without your being so generous with your time and your patience and your explanations of very technical things to someone who is not very technical, I really appreciated that. Because without that deep, deep understanding of what this building is, what this sanctuary means, what this organization means, we wouldn't be able to continue to move it forward. So thank you, Steve. I want to thank the members of the Journal Committee this year, Ariel and Ari. Thank you so much for soliciting ads this year. We really got back up to some of our former numbers in terms of ad solicitation. Allie, thank you so much to Allie, who brought new vigor to the Journal by moving us forward in terms of technology. It was all seamless. She created the website and everything that we needed in order to make the process much smoother. So thank you so much, Allie, for your efforts on that. I want to thank Lisa and Joanna, who are conveniently sitting together, for all their publicity to make sure that people knew about the journal event and what is a journal and how do I support it and why would I do that. Without your consistent, clear publicity, we wouldn't have had a successful year, and I'm deeply grateful. And Janet, welcome to the Journal. I bet you didn't know what you were getting into when you said that you would chair it this year. It's all fun, right? No details, just a small endeavor, just so small, so small. Thank you so much, Janet. I truly do know what a large effort it takes to coordinate the print publication, the online publication, as well as the service itself, plus a reception. It is quite a feat, and I thank you so much for doing that. Thank you, Josh, for being so willing and so flexible to take on one of ACI's really venerable traditions of the journal service. It is something that's unique to ACI. We are quite proud of it, and it's a tradition we'd like to see continue for many years into the future. Okay. Woo! Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad.
Sweet.
What can I say? Thank you, thank you, thank you. For every event I ran, for every meeting that I had, or any time I had to make a spreadsheet. My parents may not have physically been there, but they were mentally there, and they were certainly financially there to support my endeavors. Whether it was calling my mom and complaining about how expensive DIY Heinekio were, and her saying, just put it on my card, will that stop this? Just charge it, just make that happen. Don't you want the matching napkins? You should buy the matching napkins, we'll take care of it, honey. or my dad, who spent hours with QuickBooks open on a giant screen television, going through one transaction at a time. To me, who really does not understand numbers at all, I thank you. I thank you for your decades and decades of support and patience and your support of my endeavors. And this whole congregation thanks you as well. And tomorrow my dad gets to fix my tub. All right, Jacob and Max. Now, I know you were probably confused when the other grown-ups were using words like patient and diplomatic and kind. No comments
I
right now.
haven't learned most of those.
So I know that you don't see that side of me as often, but I want to thank you because I know that there were many dinners and many, many bedtimes that did not go according to the routine, where you had to be really flexible and really patient, even when I wasn't. And I appreciate so much, Jay and Max, that you allowed me to do the work to help this great congregation. I know it wasn't easy, and I know sometimes I am very cranky, but I appreciate you guys very much, and I love you. And well, if my kids were maybe not familiar with associating diplomatic and patient with me, I know Rafi is. Honey, baby. Thank you. I know I spent probably hundreds of hours on phone calls, on Zooms, back in the day when we used to have in-person meetings. Can you imagine? It was really hard on me. And I appreciate your tireless efforts and patience. And the fact that you would see when I was just about at my breaking point and jump in to magically solve the problem. Whether it was laying out pages in the journal, being in charge of the snack table at a corn party, schlepping, so much schlepping of stuff back and forth. I love you, I appreciate you, and I thank you. Thank you to everyone for your kindness and your support. Thank you to my Gateway colleague, Mr. Otterberry, and Rodney for coming tonight, all the way from Manhattan. Whoa! I just really appreciate all of your support, and I hope that we can continue this new era of deep collaboration, deep volunteerism, where we really come together as a community to continue for ACI to be the premier institution for Judaism in Western Queens. Thank you so much.
You're quite welcome. Very good. I put this in my ad for Elisa, but I think it's certainly true for her, and it's true for everyone who volunteers here. A quote from what's known as the book of Mishlei, or the book of Proverbs, which says, Yesh mifazer v'nosaf od, which means that a person who gives generously ends up with more. The person who gives generously ends up with more. And I hope that that is true for Elisa and for everyone here at ACI who gives their time and energy to making this synagogue everything that it can be. We continue on the back side of your sheets. And rise for the bar. Baruch Hu Adonai Hanavorach, Baruch Adonai Hanavorach, Le'olam. You may be seated, Baruch Adonai Elohim melech Ma'avir yom umei v'layla, ma'avdil ben yom uvein layla, Adonai Sevot Shemo, El Chai v'Kayam, Tamidim lo aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, Hamariv v'Aravim. Middle of the page, we close our eyes in deep concentration for the recitation of the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. I introduced this Amidah meditation back in March, but just since you've never heard it before, this is a Hasidic prayer by a rabbi named Rab Natan of Nemirov. And it's called a prayer for joy. And it's an idea that on Shabbat, we should be able to have a break from what my children's kindergarten teachers would call big feelings that can often accompany us through the rest of the week. So I'm going to read the prayer for all of you. May it be your will, our God and God of our ancestors, that you might help me with your great compassion and give me the merit to receive the holy day of Shabbat with great joy and happiness, delight, song, celebration, and gladness. Guard and save me, that no sadness or depression will fall my heart, no sorrow and no lament, no worry on the holy day of Shabbat. Ushmor tzeitenu, uvoenu, lechaim uleshalom, me'ata ve'ad olam. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu v'yachol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Towards the bottom of the page, Oseh Shalom. Oseh Shalom imramav, Yaseh Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, Amen. Oseh Shalom imramav, Yaseh Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, I kind of want to be in that. That seems like the fun corner. But in all seriousness, we're now going to recite the Kaddish Tome, the Mourner's Kaddish. If you are in mourning or observing yahrzeit, please rise. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, v'yalmad tibarach yeruteh, v'yamlich malchuteh, v'chayechon u'yomechon u'chayeh d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'bizman karev v'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam lo me'almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shmei nekudsha b'richu, Le'ela min kol birkata v'shirata, tushbekata v'nechamata, da'miran b'yalma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shmaya, v'chaim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Ari, do you have any announcements? Okay. So, we're going to do a Don Olam. Following Adon Olam, we're going to rise for Kiddush and Hamotzi, which will be led by Rafi. He's going to make some joke about the long-suffering husband of the honoree, but I guess he can decide that for himself. But we'll be doing Kiddush and Hamotzi. Following Kiddush and Hamotzi, we will make our way into the lobby and the ladies' auxiliary room for our reception in honor of Elisa. Please return your handouts to the back.
Should we have the children come up and do it down along together?
Oh, yes, but all my lollipops are in my office, so they have to come and get a lollipop later. Yes, if any kids who are here want to come for a Don Olam are welcome to join me. Quinn, do you know where my lollipops are? Okay, well, one of you knows where the bag of lollipops is. You can go and get it and bring it back here because I totally forgot about that part. Adon Olam on the bottom of the back of the sheet. Adon Olam Asher Malach Etereno Yisir Nivra Le'et Nasa B'Chetzoko Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Azai Melech Shemo Nikra V'Yacharei Kikos HaKol Levado Yivlov Nora V'Hu Haya V'Hu Hoden V'Hu Yiyeh V'Tifara V'Hu Yiyeh V'Tifara V'Hu Echad V'En Sheni Leha Shilo Leha Pira V'Li Reshi V'Li Tachli V'Lo HaOz V'Ha V'Lo HaOz V'Ha Misra V'Hu V'Li V'Chai Go'ali V'Tzor Kavli V'Esara V'Hu Nisi U'Manosli V'Nakosi V'Yom Ekra V'Nakosi V'Yom Ekra V'Yado Aki Ruki V'Yeh Nishad V'Ayira V'Imruki Yebiati Adonai Li V'Lo Ira Adonai Li V'Lo Ira. Please rise for Kiddush and Hamotzi. Stay up here, guys. We can a lot of help when Rafa's done, all right?
כולה שמיים בארץ בכל צבאם, חל אלוהים ביום השביעי במלאכתו אשר עשה, וישקוט ביום השביעי בכל מלאכתו אשר עשה, ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי ויקדש אותו, כי בו שבח בכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. סברים חיים, ברוך אתה אדוני, אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא פרי הגפן.
אמן.
ברוך אתה אדוני, אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קטרנו במצוותיו ורצה בנו, ושבת קודשו ואהבה וברצון הנחילנו, זיכרון למעשה בראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה ונקרא קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים.
כי באנו בחרת ואותנו נידשת מכל העמים ושבת
Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen.
Would anyone like to help me say the Hamotzi prayer? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen. Shabbat shalom, everybody. Shabbat shalom, everybody. Hold on. Which one? This one? Okay.
Go on.
Get others in my office, okay? Some of the Christian kisses up in here. I don't know exactly. This one? Okay.
Geology, huh? Oh,
Screwy one, which one's this? That screwy one? Sorry. Exactly, I was asking the same thing. Yeah. Hey, there's a Hershey Kiss in here. This is a bag of lollipops. Just Hershey Kisses. You're quite welcome. 58 minutes. I'm sorry, I said that really loud. But I did say it was going to last an hour.